Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Vacharani Navasesha Sunivari Pushtatar Siddharani Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shiva Sari Gauravani Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Actually, yeah, my computer's gone for fixing. Might take 5 days. So I've lost it.
We're going to fix it, okay.
Have to, yeah. Hare Krishna, Gayatri, welcome. Okay, let's begin. It's 6:05. Who's ever here is here. So let's just. So I keep saying it every week that we're probably going to finish this week. I mean it. This week could well be that week when we finish, except I might read it afterwards as well.
Yeah, we got other bits to read.
Let's see how it goes. Okay. Part 7, page 868. Sankalpa for chanting with emotion. Okay, so what is the emotion? What type of emotion do we chant in?
In the mood of separation.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, there's many different moods, but so chapter 7 is all about that. As we're reading the summary of the latter chapters, we're probably able to remember it more clearly, because as we're getting, because that's what we recently read. It's still quite fresh in my mind, this chapter, part 7. So examines chanting with emotion and specifically with Palamba. I guess the main emotion for chanting eventually is love. Other than that, then we aspire for that love, so we chant.
Yeah, eventually all our services should be for the pleasure of Krishna. Yeah. At the moment, it's like, oh, separation, oh, I'm missing, this, whatever. But it's all got to...
Yeah, well, it's inspired by affection and love. In the many chapters preceding this, I can't see if there's anybody else here. I can't see it. It's different setup on my iPad.
No,
Gayatri Mother, are you here? You're unmute and say Hare Krishna if you're here.
Gayatri,
okay, great.
Gayatri, did I send the right link out?
You sent the right link. Yeah, I pressed from your link. I think everybody might be busy because it's super hot, like 33 degrees. I wouldn't be surprised.
You're out in the swimming pool in the back garden.
Okay.
That's the correct list.
But I did give them. I sent the all 3 in 1. What you?
Yeah, no, they can figure it out. I know which day it is.
Okay, I don't want to send it again. Okay, thank you.
Okay, in many chapters preceding this, we have described the sadhana of true Gaudias. Systematic meditation in Nam Sankirtan braided with feelings of separation is the means by which devotees pass through the increasingly elusive stages from Nishta to advanced Ashakti. Okay. So without that, there's little chance that way, without this mood, then there may be little chance we're going to pass through these different stages. Because unless we're feeling separation, that means we don't really desire it. So separation means that you desire something. So unless it's nicely put, braided, like ladies who they braid their hair. So braided, so our smaran, our remembrance should be braided with feelings of separation. Then we can move from Nishta to advance to Shakti. Right? So that was... The chapter 33 introduces the concept of bhava seva. Again, this is the mood in which you do seva, or service with emotion. If we apply to the perfection of prema, the maxim that they practice and its God correspond, then it stands to reason that sadhana must be enhanced by feelings of affection, and increasingly as one advances in smaran das. Yeah, I think my spiritual master, every time he speaks, he mentions this point. Just recently at the Mani, he mentioned this point again, and he's again, that our sadhana should be equal to our satya. Yeah? So generally in the beginning, your sadhana is going to be general. But then as we advance, it becomes more specific. The sadhana that we do for our satya, for our perfection.
What did you say sadhana is supposed to be for the goal?
Yeah, like if the ones attracted to a certain relationship with Krishna, then they would, then in the more advanced stages of devotion, then their sadhana will correspond with their goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a general desire for Gaudiya Vaishnavas to obtain not Vaikuntha but Goloka Vrindavan. So their smaran will be in accord with that sadhya, with that perfection. And that's been described before. Okay. Welcome, devotees. If you see a different view, of me reading, it's because my computer's in the hospital. It broke, so I'm using my iPad. So you're seeing a different view. So that's why. Okay. Indeed, we see that faith, attraction to devotees, patience, enthusiasm, and humility are just some of the emotions inherent in sadhana. Yeah. We're supposed to get emotional, but spiritually emotional, not based on the body, not based on our mundane sentiments, but we're supposed to get emotions we will experience in our devotional practice. And the more a devotee attentively cultivates these emotions favorable to practice, the more they manifest. In a way that love inherent within the heart also manifests with practice. Okay? So that's the Kriti Satya Pavit Satya Bhava Sasadhanadiva. Yeah. That love of God is inherent within the heart, and we invoke it. The primary emotion that draws all other qualities after it, in the way the current of a river carries leaves downstream, is Ripalamba Seva. Right? So the primary emotion, is Ripalamba Seva.
Okay, can I just quickly ask something?
Yes, please.
Say if you've done something, then you remember it. I've done this, and you miss it, and you want to do it. So say you were back home and you remember it, then you want to just go back. So you're really serious about going back. But when you don't remember what it was like, then it gets a bit difficult. And on the other hand, how was I going to say it? When you're reading about all these pastimes and seeing pictures, then you really want to be there. You know, like I was reading about the play with the flute, how the gopis are passing it one by one to the others.
Yeah.
Wish you was there. But you've been there, you've done. What am I asking is that if you could remember being there, it would be easier for you to really go forward. You know?
That's why I understood you correctly. That's what Raganuga sadhana is. It's a practice. So you'll find yourself, if you're reading about Krishna, reading about his pastimes, then automatically, or kind of naturally you're going to remember that. But then there may be times where you find yourself not reading the pastimes. So because we're not spontaneously attracted, then we will then not be absorbed in that remembrance. So that's why it's always good. Like I see that in myself, where a few days I'm studying for other things, preparing for this, preparing for that class on deity worship, and I'm not doing my reading of Krishna Lila. And then it kind of goes off, because I'm not spontaneously attracted, then my japa, my meditation is not, it's not the same if I do happen to remember during japa. But if I'm reading regularly, then I'm more, it's just a obvious thing in one sense, because we're not spontaneously attracted. That's why it's called Raganuga Sadhana. It's like we're practicing to be spontaneous, which means we're not.
Yeah.
So that's why it's good to keep in tune. It's good to, especially devotees been around a few years, it's good to go really deep in Krishna's pastimes. Then you have to read about them. But you'll find, because we're not spontaneously attracted, when we're not reading about the pastimes, then we won't recall them so much. Some of you might. So that's why it's good to have, Prabhupada said we should read Krishna book every evening, isn't it? So
yeah, like when you're reading Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita or something, you really like concentrating. And then when you go to read about Krishna's pastimes, plays and this and that, your mood is completely different.
It can be. Also, it can, but if there's affection, if there's a level of deep affection for Krishna, then you're going to be seeing Krishna in the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita. It's gonna enhance your affection for Krishna.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to enhance that appreciation of Krishna, because it's Krishna in Bhagavatam, in the earlier cantos. So.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I hope I'm okay to.
Very good.
My speech is okay. Like
yeah, it's good.
The Zoom
coming through clear today. You had a question?
Oh my God. Yeah. Yes, Prabhu. When you said the affection, it is just like that devotee who didn't know how to hold like that, the Brahmana from the South India, who doesn't know which side to hold even, but he was crying, thinking
Gita.
About the Bhagavad Gita, like how Arjuna is literally kicking all the time to Krishna, and the Lord is accepting that kick and moving in the battlefield, because that is how so it is that affection. He's saying, oh my Lord, this is you. So are you referring to that? That's the affection.
You can. That's a good example to give. Like he was reading Bhagavad Gita, and Bhagavad Gita is a philosophy, quite intense philosophy, actually, in parts of it, very detailed.
Yes. Yeah.
Nishkam, we're just studying Bhakti Sastri, so. But he was appreciating Krishna as being taking the subordinate role to Arjuna, so he was absorbed in that quality of Krishna. So he wasn't. That's what he was appreciating. So it's good. It's a good example. So Bhagavad Gita is Gyan. There's a lot of knowledge there, but for the qualified devotee, reading Gita is a source of great affection for a devotee. Like this nice example that Nitai Mata's giving of this Brahmana in South India who could not read. And it's a big thing in South India because they're all Sanskrit scholars.
Yes.
They all know Sanskrit. So there's this one guy practically illiterate.
Yeah.
Sanskrit, and they're all like cutting a joke at him. He's like the town fool, amongst all the Sanskrit pundits in South India. Then he gets the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he's really understood Gita. Yeah, good example. Thank you for bringing that in, Mother. Yeah. So primary emotion that draws all other qualities after it in a way the current of a river carries leaves downstream is Ripalamba Seva, feelings of separation. The spiritual science of meeting and separation should be known. What's meeting called?
Sambhoga.
Sambhoga, yeah. Sambhoga and Ripalamba. And when it is, then devotees can begin to incorporate Ripalamba into their Nam bhajan. That is the mood of chanting, and the only mood of chanting acceptable for the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So it's a sudden for us. We have to, okay, we read it, maybe tomorrow, again, we mentioned this many times. Like last night, in the reading, we were hearing about Ripalamba. All right, let me try and invest some of this emotion into my chanting this morning. So we have to it's something we have to actively try to cultivate. Otherwise, it won't come. It's not going to come unless we actually cultivate it. And the way to cultivate it, and get carried away, the way to cultivate it is also to hear about the devotees' pastimes of separation from Krishna. Yeah. This is the mood of chanting. We read that. So that was chapter 33. So chapter 34 is dedicated to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the personification of Ripalamba. Although Krishna and Gaura are the same original Supreme Personality of Godhead, Gaura enjoys pastimes. Krishna enjoys pastimes and meeting with Radha, and the latter is absorbed in the mood of Radha, as Lord Chaitanya, separated from Krishna. When Krishna appeared, he wanted people to learn the confidential, spontaneous love with which the Rajvasis worshipped him. So there's a nice verse I'm trying to learn, but haven't got it yet. It describes that, chapter 4 of the Adi Leela. However, he was misunderstood, and those who became his devotees worshipped. Let me read that again. When Krishna appeared, he wanted people to learn the confidential, spontaneous love with which the Rajvasis worshipped him. However, he was misunderstood as Krishna, and those who became his devotees worshipped him with awe and reverence instead of spontaneous love. So even Krishna, it didn't go to plan. He was predominantly then worshipped with awe and reverence. Therefore, in his appearance as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna assumed the role of a devotee who personally taught the world how to love Krishna. Sometimes I remember the question came up, my spiritual master was mentioning, the question comes up, well, why does Krishna appear in India? Why doesn't he appear in Glasgow? Why doesn't he appear in Zurich? Why doesn't he appear in Budapest? Why does he appear in India?
Is it because
if someone asks that question, sorry?
Is it because it's pious land?
Yeah, basically, yeah. It's the land of Punya, but my Guru Maharaj mentioned a bit tongue-in-cheek that that's the best Sankirtan spot for Krishna. It's the best place for Sankirtan. People are going to take, people are more likely to take what he is giving, so that's the best Sankirtan spot. A bit of a tongue-in-cheek.
It's because all people in India are all pious in whichever religion they follow. Even Muslim,
there's that. Even
Christian.
Even by today's standards of Kali Yuga, still there's an undeniable piety that is easily perceived. Of course, there will be there is exceptions, there is wicked and evil people, sure, there. But on the whole, people are generally very good people.
Yeah, you see, like in our temple, and even all over the world now, lots of Indian youngsters students are going out, right? Like we have at Soho. You see how straight away to youngsters are just coming to the temple. Some are even coming to Mangalarti. Like,
yeah,
really young,
natural.
yeah, it's just like natural, yes.
It's certainly not natural for Westerners. It takes so much to pull them into Krishna consciousness. I mean, it takes a lot of work, a lot of preaching, a lot of patience. And, okay.
I was one day, one young student and boy and a girl, they were holding hands and holding a bouquet of red roses to Krishna. Holding the hand, they both are, I don't know, maybe they got engaged or maybe they passed the exam. They were holding big bouquet of roses to Krishna and gave. So, and I was going there. I was trying to take the bouquet because at that day, Saturday, we were making nice red garlands. So I thought I'm going to use it. And then she said, is it okay to leave it here? I said, yeah, please leave it. After that, I went and I really, I was telling Sahachari and, not Sahachari, the other girls, Maharani, please take roses from this bouquet, because these two, they were holding hands and offering the bouquet. Very young boy and a girl.
So, yeah, pious. So so within a few seconds, their offering was whipped up and used and put into garlands. Just a few seconds. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where was we? Of course, the means for people's salvation was Nam Sankirtan, but in addition to the mantras of Krishna's names, in his Shikshashtaka verses, Lord Chaitanya taught Ripalamba Ayidina Dhyata Nata He Motoda Nataka. That's another verse, excuse me. Yugaitam Nishena Chakshu Shun Yidaitum Sanjayatum Tigatsavam Govinda Vera Hanename. So Lord Chaitanya taught Ripalamba as the mood with which his followers should chant Nam Sankirtan. The conclusion, therefore, is that a devotee's Nam Bhajan should follow the guidance of the verses of the Shikshashtaka. I think you did a study of Shikshashtaka a few years ago with Nam Sankirtan, isn't it? A little group.
Yeah.
By such smaran, a devotee will eventually awaken all transcendental truths, the truths of rasa, tattva, etc., free himself of all impiety, and receive the eightfold pastimes enacted within his purified heart. Sounds nice, yeah? The eightfold pastimes that unfold throughout the day in 8 parts of the day. So it will unfold within the purified heart. When or when?
It just shows like first we are so far away to all that, what we read.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe closer than you think as well. It's like it's very mysterious like that. Yeah, you can be practicing, you can make more by Krishna's grace. You can make more advancement in 1 minute than you can make in 10 years.
Yeah.
By Krishna's sweet mercy, he can make his sweet mercy.
I pondered on that. So Krishna's mercy we can only get by serving his devotees. Right? Like,
yeah, serving and having respect for his devotees, serving his devotees. That kind of touches Krishna's heart. That's like a kind of an inroad to Krishna's heart. To touch Krishna's heart is to serve those persons who are very dear to Krishna. Yeah.
Yeah. So not always easy to do that kind of service.
Yeah, I think I said this before, but I give the tip again. If you say to devotee, "Oh, please, how can I serve you? How can I serve you?" Like one devotee, because I finished my practice Sastri teaching, And one devotee at the end, how can I serve you? What can I do? What can I do? It's you know, it's like embarrassing, you know. I'm not going to say, yeah, you can massage my feet. Yeah, you can do my washing. You can do. I'm not going to say anything like that. I just took that, you know, was a bit humbled by it. So devotees are not so readily easy to serve because of their humility, except if they're in a role with spiritual master, then out of duty they would accept service. But one of the good where devotees will readily, easily accept service from you, and it will also give you orders as well. Do you know what that is?
Give you orders, and
They'll give you orders, and they won't hesitate to ask you to actually serve them. Anyone can say what that is?
your spiritual master?
No, there's a specific service where devotees will order you around, and they won't let you stop serving them. Anyone knows what that service is?
Nice.
Cleaning the toilets?
No. Nitai Mata? Who else is it?
This is
Chanting the holy name.
that is
They will order you around. They will call your name. Serving Prashadam.
Serving Prashad. Actually,
They will come and stand in front of you, and they will accept your service, no problem. And they will come and they will keep on wanting to accept their service until they're satisfied. So it's a little secret there. If you want to serve Vaishnavas, yeah. One of my service a good few years ago was managing the Prashadam serving in the mornings under Mahajuti Maharaj's order. So I was in charge of serving. It's really blissful, you know.
Actually, I mean, this is just something your Guru Maharaj did that swimming thing, and I was thinking how I can, because like you are giving us classes, and his books are there for us to study and that.
Yeah.
So I kind of give Guru Dakshina in a way.
Yeah, sponsor the swim.
Yeah, that's what I did. It was my way of like thanking him that his books, like I'm reading
Nice, great, wonderful.
studying his books, and
yeah, that's another practical way of service. Yeah, you're right. So serving the devotees is a inroad to Krishna's heart to attract his attention. You know? The conclusion.
When you get older, then it's difficult, like you were saying about serving prasad. Carry thing, bend down to give. You can't even do that. Everybody wants to serve you instead. So I've been wondering how to serve devotees. Yeah,
if you meditate upon it, you'll find ways and means to actually render some service. And there's a great variety of services that can be done. Some services might be more in the lines of just being a guide, just to encourage devotees. That's also service as well, which is very, very important service. Devotees will have ups and downs. So it's good if there's devotees there ready to give guidance, ready to give advice. And that's a very valuable service that you can do. So in that sense, there's no dearth of service that can be rendered, Yeah. So continuing with this summary of chapter 30.
I remember you, Prabhu.
You remember me?
This, your service in breakfast.
Yeah, sometimes I like to serve
that was the time I.
Oh yeah.
So that was my first experience. You say, okay, do this. guiding everybody. That's my first experience at Soho.
Right. Very good. The conclusion, therefore, is that the devotee's non-bhajan should follow the guidance of the verses of the Shashtaka. By such smaran, a devotee, so that's described in detail in chapter 34. Okay. By such smaran, a devotee will eventually awaken all transient. Oh, we would read that. The following chapter 35 describes how practicing devotees can cultivate the Vipalamba mood, which Srila Prabhupada so much emphasized to his followers. That cultivation begins by understanding the truths of service and separation. So we're serving in separation. And how, even though appearing as suffering, Vipalamba is actually the source of the greatest pleasure. Yeah. If you was to meet Raghunath Das Goswami, if you was blessed to meet him, or Jiva Goswami, especially in their latter years, you would think they were suffering intensely. It would be quite bewildering to see them, because they will be literally on death's door in so much anxiety. So to the untrained eye, they might not understand that. They're actually in the highest bliss. I might have said this before as well, excuse me. Because I give different classes in different places and seminars and things like that, I'm always concerned that I'm saying the same thing. So that's why I might say sometimes. Sorry if you heard this before. But there's a picture of Prabhupada when he was in 22nd Avenue. And who is it? Yamuna. She sees this picture of Prabhupada. And she says to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, you look so sad here. Prabhupada does. He looks very grave, very grave. His pictures in the backyard of 26th Avenue, a long coat on, a really grave disposition. She said, oh, Prabhupada, you look so serious, you look so sad here. Prabhupada said, that was a moment of great ecstasy. So, yeah, so in the beginning, a devotee may understand Vipalamba as a chasm that exists between himself in the material world and Krishna in the spiritual. It's a chasm. That means a gap. It means a gap, a chasm. This is more an intellectually invoked separation. All right, so that's where it begins. We have to intellectually understand and contemplate where we are and where we're not. Yeah. So it's done through by reading and invoking that through contemplation. I just read this.
Prabhu.
Go on, carry on.
Prabhu.
Yeah.
I want to, Prabhu, chant and be happy.
Sorry?
Just that you read. Srila Prabhupada said in very simply, chant happy. So
yeah, chant be happy.
Happy, so, but we have to go through Vipralamba, and that is the highest, that is why we are happy. We can be happy. So is that right, Prabhu?
Yeah,
that's because happiness. You just now said.
Yeah, Vipalamba is happiness because it's all about Krishna.
Happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite a deep subject actually, but yeah, Vipalamba is a state of spiritual. Yeah, it's a specific spiritual taste. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's your longing. You're longing.
You're longing, and because you're longing for Krishna, then it's ecstasy of longing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have to take prescription drugs for depression, separation, because it's spiritual. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Right. So this is a more intellectually invoked separation. But as he makes progress in sadhana, the practitioner becomes attracted to Krishna, and the sense of being, and then the sense of being separated from him actually transforms into the pain that the lover feels in separation from his beloved. So it gets quite acute. Yeah? It becomes actually, it goes from the intellectual, and it goes, and it's an actual experience of the heart as one, makes progress. Crucial to cultivating these feelings of separation is to read the pastime of separation as enacted by the Rajrashis and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Equally relevant are those books and songs in which great devotees express their pains of sorrow. Okay, now there is some really heart-wrenching, heart-yearning, wonderful prayers and poems by the Goswamis, which is really expresses their separation. They express it in such a deep way. Udvalili Kalaki is one by Rupa Goswami. Udvalili Kalika, or Kalari. Such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful writing of his feelings of yearning to obtain Radha and Krishna. Yeah. Okay.
These are the ones you read and sent out,
Yeah, they so I got so fired up about them that I thought you've already said I wanted to share it. So I put it to music and I read it, I put it to music. It's one of my recreations I was doing at the time, making little videos of this poem. And sometimes, I haven't done it lately, but sometimes I remember in Mayapur, I was listening to those recordings when I was taking breakfast.
Yeah, I've got them on. I put every now and then I just click.
Yeah, it's easy to do. It's there if you want. You can look at that on the YouTube
I kept them. The ones you sent, I've kept them all.
Yeah, I haven't done any lately because I wanted to ask my spiritual master about it, but I haven't had the chance yet. So that project's on hold. Okay. The primary attainment of Ripalamba Seva is that it mysteriously increases attachment to Krishna. And when that attachment matures to real love, then it attracts Krishna into the devotee's presence. It becomes the cause of meeting with him. So that's that. It becomes, Krishna becomes attracted. He becomes spontaneously attracted to you, to your feelings of divine divine separation. Krishna becomes attracted. It attracts Krishna into the devotee's presence. So that was chapter 35, chapter 36, called The Perfection of Separation. And it is a continuation of the previous chapter. Herein, we further study the way in which service and separation increases love for Krishna. And we hear of the Mula Mantra, the root mantra for separation, which was spoken by Madhavendra Puri. So remember the Sanskrit. Ayi dina diyata nata he matura nata kabladoksha shehit ayam vita lokaram pramite kim koromi aham. Got a few words wrong there, but this is prayer of Madhavendra Puri. Some of you might recognize it. Oh my Lord, Ayi dina diyata nata he. O most merciful Master, O Master of Mathura, when shall I see you again? Because of my not seeing you, my agitated heart has become unsteady. O most beloved one, what shall I do now? Yeah, this is, so as you know, we won't get sidetracked too much. Madhavendra Puri is the seed of this mood of separation. So, yeah. And that's where he's a wayward disciple. What's his name? Ramachandra Puri. Is that right? When Madhavendra Puri was reciting this verse at the end of his life, his foolish disciple start to instruct Madhavendra Puri that why are you lamenting so much? You should think of Brahman. Anyway, we all know that story. Okay. Right. And as we explore the world of love and separation from Krishna, we discover that Ripalamba is not only directed to the son of Nanda Maharaj, but to Krishna's other associates. Among those associates, the one whose company Gaudiya Vaishnavas most long for is who?
Radharani.
Srimati Radharani. She is Krishna's feminine counterpart, and more often than not, Gaudiya Vaishnavas envisage their eternal service to Krishna as being a maidservant of Radha, Manjari. Okay. Thus, in addition to many other services to Radha, when Krishna is distant from Vrindavan, a perfected devotee can assuage, A-S-S-U-A-G-E, can assuage Radha's sorrow by singing songs about meetings with Krishna. Or one can pacify Radha's sorrow by singing songs about meetings of Krishna. That's one of the services of the Manjaris, is to always keep Radharani from the devastating moods of Ripalamba, where she succumbs and goes into a faint. One of the services of a Manjari is to keep on speaking of future meetings that are coming, and to remind Radha, because she's, as you can imagine, she is the personification of devotional emotion. So when she starts feeling separation from Krishna, it can literally stop the universe from breathing. It's so intense that, it's so intense that it's almost, it's so intense that it's almost she is dying. And that causes, so the Manjaris, they're very careful how they speak to Radha. They have to manage her emotions to keep her not going into a deep swoon of devastating separation from Krishna. So they're kind of, when they're dressing Radharani, when they're with her, they're reminding her if she's separated from Krishna, then they will tell Leela and pastimes of her being with Krishna. And then Radharani feels, she feels positive because then she's with Krishna. Because she's hearing about Krishna, and then she's hearing about the pastime, then she's, she's relishing, she's in that pastime of sambhoga, of meeting. But she's very, highly strung is the wrong word, that's the material, but her emotions are very, very intense. So the Manjaris, so sometimes Radharani is in a sulky mood, as you know, and she refuses to meet with Krishna. So they have to bring her out of that mood, and there's all different ways they may do it. And there's, so many pastimes in that regard. I'll just say one time they tried absolutely everything to bring back Radharani from her mood of, what's it called again? Man, of not wanting anything to do with Krishna. All the Manjaris tried, everyone tried. Purnamasi tried. Who's it? Purnamasi arranges all the pastimes, isn't it? And everyone, but to no avail. No avail. This went on for days and days. Of course, Krishna is practically burning away from grief of this intense man that Radha was in. And then what saved the day? Krishna's flute playing. Someone argued it, he played the flute in such an enchanting way that it touched Radharani's heart, and her man abated. So Krishna's flute saved the day. So there's lots of pastimes like that, Radharani is separated from Krishna. So we read about that. There's another book called Hamsadutta. We have a Prabhupada disciple, Hamsadutta. There's a Hamsadutta. Beautiful. I think again it's by Rupa Goswami, where one of the gopis, gopi assistants, I think it is I forget now, either Lalita or Vishaka. Now, but that they explain the condition because Krishna's in Dwarka, and this swan is used as a messenger from the gopis explaining Radharani's condition. And the swan goes to Dwarka and gives this message. It's very, very, very beautiful as well. Called Hamsa Dutta. It's only a short book. It's not a long book, that one. Most of the books of the Goswamis are relatively short. Okay, you got Jiva Goswami's Sandarbhas is big, perhaps too big. It's just it's great size. But most of the books of the Goswamis, Nectar Devotions on the bigger side, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Most of the other books, they're kind of quite small, about Pacific pastimes. And if those who are interested, those who have an attraction for that, then only you have permissions from the Shiksha Gurus, Diksha Gurus, then you can find them. Most of them you'll find on ISKCON Desire Tree. Go into Gaudiya Vaishnava books and you see all the acharyas. You click on that acharya and all the books will come up. If you're so inclined. Okay. Okay, we've got 2 pages left. Shall I just read through to the end?
Let's try.
All right. I keep getting carried away and commenting. All right. Part 8 is Sankalpa for Divine Grace, Kripa. So it studies in the early chapters what saints and scriptures have disclosed about the mysteries of divine grace. So Kripa. And explores the descent of divine grace upon devotees and non-devotees. The chapters attempt to put into words the sublime realizations that transpire during the fulfillment of the purpose of sadhana bhakti, as realized by the grace of Vaishnavas, and examine the power of the holy name to manifest bhava. Chapter 37 introduces the final Sankalpa of this book, which is dedicated to paving the steps a devotee must make through sadhana to bhava. Unlike all other Sankalpas that a devotee takes, this final step into transcendence is not within his power. The final step is not within our power. In a way that a traveler may walk a great distance to his destination, upon arrival, when he knocks on the door, it must be the residents who open it. Nice description. No? Similarly, it is Krishna or his associates who give entrance to bhava, and that is called mercy or divine grace. In this chapter, we emphasize that the devotee must have a clear picture of the abhideya, or the means to his attainment. So abhideya means knowledge or practice, as well as the goal, prayojana, or the attainment itself. The two must be in harmony, and as a sadhaka cultivates the stages of smaran, especially beyond dhyana, there's different stages of smaran leading up to samadhi, okay? The affection he cultivates for Krishna must correspond to the bhava he coverts. It is obvious to Gaudiyas that love for Krishna is their goal, but there must be more specifics about what Krishna Prema means. And as it turns out, Krishna Prema is the unwedded love for adolescent Krishna in Vrindavan, which, as explained in the previous chapter, is best expressed and most pleasing to him when offered through his associates, foremost of whom is Srimati Radharani. So, okay, conjugal love. Yeah. Swakya and Parakya. Swakya is married, the queens of Dwarka, and Parakya is unwedded love. Yeah, that's in Goloka Vrindavan. All right, one page left. Perhaps we'll go over a bit of time to celebrate finishing Sankalpa Kaumudi. Okay, but what not celebrate? It's not a celebration of us, because what we're going to do, we're going to be lost. But what more exactly is divine grace? Chapter 38 describes mercy as the transformation of consciousness which occurs when the suffering of another person touches one's own heart. Thus, when the plaintive cries of a sadhaka eager for confidential service to Krishna move the Lord's heart to the extent that he accepts that devotee into spiritual family, grace has been granted. All right, so plaintive cries of a sadhaka for confidential service, that's called Eshabanda, Samukkanta. Yeah. But to move Krishna, a devotee must have a clearly defined attachment for him. Also, our practice of sadhana bhakti also moves Krishna as well. Yeah? But doesn't move him in a way that we control him completely. That's at the stage of prema. But still, Krishna is attracted, and he blesses the sadhaka. Yeah? Okay. But to move Krishna, a devotee must have a clearly defined attachment for him. And even then, Krishna does not immediately respond. Because when he awards the devotee bhava, he awards the means by which he comes under that devotee's control. Thus, Krishna is very thorough in testing his devotee, okay? Everyone's ready to be thoroughly tested in this life? Thus, Krishna is very thorough in testing his devotee. There are many truths associated with divine grace. The most relevant to the sadhaka's quest is that as though Krishna does not feel the sufferings of the non-devotee, he does feel the pain of the devotee. Remember that's whole discussion. Does Krishna feel the sufferings of the non-devotees? The answer in short, no. Anyway, that's the whole discussion. He does feel the pain of the devotees. Krishna feels the devotee's pain because he and his devotee are connected by the mutually pervasive potency of bhakti. Krishna's bhakti shakti makes him experience the sorrow of a sadhaka. Sadhakas feel separated from him and from love for him. But the question is, does the practitioner feel a separation intense enough to move Krishna? Attaining such an intense attachment is the practitioner's goal. Chapter 39 goes into further depth in the process by which a devotee actually attains Krishna's mercy. In short, Krishna's mercy comes through his devotees. While there are other means by which Krishna may award divine grace, such as directly himself, his long-standing rule is that his representatives are given the independent power of attorney to distribute bhava to whom they see fit, and as and when they see fit. Of the devotees, most instrumental in this dispensation are the Diksha and Shiksha Gurus, and in our Krishna conscious movement, Srila Prabhupada. Because the blessings of love can be transmitted through instructions, devotees who attentively follow the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, be they his direct initiates or not, may attain his divine grace. So, different ways to attain mercy, from Diksha Guru, Shiksha Guru, Prabhupada. Yeah. However, devotees must be ideal disciples, and among the qualities that Krishna and his representative look for in a practitioner is Atma Devataha, accepting a spiritual master as one's very life and worshipful deity. Yeah. That attracts Krishna. When Krishna's representative is pleased, then either through instructions, blessings, so through instructions, blessings, or darshan, or from within the heart, he manifests bhava in the devotee. In this way, the love in the heart of the Guru, actuated by feelings of compassion, mercifully actuates bhava in the heart of the disciple. Thus, once again, we see in action the principle bhakti begets bhakti. The final chapter of the book is chapter 40. Finally, the devotee attains the goal for which he strived for many years, perhaps many lifetimes. And while much can be said about the glories of bhava bhakti, the most compelling truth to be emphasized in this closing is that it is not attained without effort. This book is about the relenting effort required to hone the quality and quantity of one's bhakti in tandem with the desire to accomplish its perfection. Sadhana bhakti is not a lazy man's business, and Srila Prabhupada's request to chant a minimum of 16 rounds is not a minimum achievement. It means chant 16 rounds of pure japa while aspiring in separation for the devotion of the Vrajvasis, with some, if not complete, feelings of spontaneity born of greed. It may sound like a tall order, but actually that is the minimum. And for devotees dedicated to this goal, grace in the form of help from their guardians, seen and unseen, is assured. And so too is assured the darshan of his worshipful deities, Radha, Krishna, and the groves of Raj. Krishna's stated practice is that he will, as he did with Narada, give his audience once to the Bhava Bhakta and no more. That one audience will then make the devotee mad with desire to continue sankalpas on the path of love, something akin to, but different from different from the way that he did in sadhana. And so his devotion grows and continues to grow even once love and eternal mellows have been attained. After all, the law of bhakti is that bhakti begets bhakti eternally. Okay, Hari Om Tat Sat. That finishes the reading of the Sankalpa Kaumudi by Sivarama Swami, a moonbeam of determination. There's a small afterwards, but perhaps we won't read that. We might touch on it next week. So I'd like to thank all there's not so many here today, but if you're going to listen to the recording, I'd like to thank the devotees for being with us on this journey of this amazing reading. And hopefully, I'm sure and I hope that our spiritual lives have had some transformation, that a lot of this is helping you and helping us in our spiritual life. So, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. I just have a question. Can Shiksha Guru be just senior disciple? No, it's not necessary as his guru. He just senior devotee.
Yeah.
Can he be?
Yeah. So Shiksha Guru is any advanced any devotee which is giving you guidance. It may be a god brother, it may be more realized and advanced god brother or god sister. It may be a Prabhupada disciple who is not your Diksha Guru, but you're getting Shiksha from them. Yeah.
So you can be the Shiksha Guru, Prabhu.
You can be a Shiksha Guru.
You can be, yeah? Does it need any procedure, anything special like ceremony or something?
Now, as far as I know, it's sometimes it may be formal. Generally, as far as I've seen, it's like an informal thing. Some devotees might make it more formal. But just like giving class, like I'm acting in the role of Shiksha Gurus, I'm reading and explaining, but I'm sure you also, Navajambhavati, you've got devotees who you give Shiksha to. So you're also acting in that role as a Shiksha Guru. But it's good if there's a senior devotee, it's good to, you can establish that as something formal. If there's one sannyasi, he may not be your initiator, but he's given you guidance. So it may be a senior Prabhupada Mataji, lady, disciple.
Yeah.
But it's good you can then make that request. Please, can I have a relationship of a shiksha?
Yeah, but it's difficult to get Prabhupada disciples. It's hard to get them, They smile, They smile, they're polite, but that's it. They're busy because they live in different mood. And you know, to have like Shiksha disciple is a bit a burden.
Yeah, well, therefore, yeah, and also we have to say that the Prabhupada disciples are leaving the world, but the mission is still very much alive, and in the same way that Prabhupada's disciples were empowered, and so the followers of Prabhupada disciples will also be empowered by Krishna in order to guide and to inspire devotees. Like, it's not unusual. There's a friend, let me just, sorry, what's going on here? I'm trying to stop the recording. Any guesses? Hey, we'll just record it. There's one friend of mine who, one young devotee in Scotland who I saw in Vrindavan, and I met him in Vrindavan. He kind of had, I met in Vrindavan, and he took initiation. So I asked him who his spiritual master was. So his spiritual master is a disciple of Surat Damodar Goswami Maharaj. So now it's happening now already. I'm saying there are many persons who are taking initiation from the disciples of Prabhupada's disciples.
Is it ISKCON?
Yeah, ISKCON.
Okay. Yeah. So it means, because there are so many young devotees who inspire me, you know.
In Scotland,
Oh, young devotees.
taken initiative.
One second.